Man, what is happening with y'all? We back in the bedroom. Hope y'all are doing good. Today, this video is going to be about my competition, my weightlifting competition last week. Now, this competition was over Zoom, unfortunately, but it still had some prestige because it was the Youth World Cup. All right, this was supposed to be the Youth World Championships in Lima, Peru, but it got moved online. So I will be talking about my performance, how the vibe was, how I felt about everything, and what to expect going forward. So if y'all want to hear a little bit about that, stay tuned, I got that for you. I'm a little rusty with those, that was a little too quick. So I competed on Friday the 13th, but luckily I was able to go down to Vero the day before, get settled in. Now, as I said, this competition was on Zoom, which kind of made it a little odd. For example, we didn't have any weigh-ins. I still weighed under 67. That's just because I'm just trying to fill out the weight class. And it went on an honor system, so who really knows who made weight and who didn't. So luckily I was able to compete at 3 p.m. my time, which usually I just train right after school anyways, so it was about the time when I work out. You know how going into a meet you're all hyped, and really that just seems like the peak of the week. Everything you do is leading up to that. It really didn't feel like that. It felt like another max out day, another training day. And now I don't think this had any effect on my competition performance, but it still was just a little bit odd. Now keep in mind, this was just a few weeks after states, and so it was a very quick turnaround. I wasn't expecting anything crazy, but I did seek some type of redemption from my lackluster performance at states. Following states, my coach and I laid some things out of what we want to improve on and some really big things that we think will propel my numbers up. So with a quick turnaround, it would be silly to just expect those fixes to automatically just click with the heavier weights, but hopefully they would still improve the quality of my lifts some bit, making the weights easier or making the misses less drastic, I guess. But as I was warming up, it was really just me, my family, my coach, and then of course Maddie and CJ, the dogs. So that was the only thing that really made a difference from this meet and say a max out day, was that all the attention, at least in the gym, was focused on me. And I knew that I had some of y'all watching on stream, but still, it just felt like a normal day. We had DJ CJ on the music. We were able to play music throughout my warm-ups and even during my competition lifts. And working up with my warm-up weights and even just the barbell, everything felt good. Everything felt so light. And I wasn't really expecting my body to feel so great just because of the quick turnaround with states and all that, but my body was feeling swole, flexy, nimble, and really the weights were feeling light off the ground and in the catch. So I made my jumps 60, 70, 80, 90, and even as I got heavier, everything was going pretty ideal. Then for my very first attempt, I was a little bit nervous, but also I was just ready to start clobbering weights. So I chalked up, approached the bar. It was 102 from my opener, and this is something that I've done consistently in the past. Snatched it, bam, got under it. Everything felt super light, super easy. And so after that, I felt confident. Told my coach I was good for the 4 kilo jump. He liked what he was seeing, so he was good with the 4 kilo jump as well to 106. The formatting of this meet was different from pretty much any other weightlifting meet because everyone, no matter the weight, they took their first attempt and then everyone else did their first attempt, and then everyone did their second attempt together. So there wasn't necessarily a 1 minute or 2 minute clock. It was just everyone finished their first attempts, then they go back in chronological order for their second attempts, and then same thing with their third. And so I was forced to sit down for a little bit, probably more time than I'm used to, maybe 5 to 7 minutes sometimes. And I don't think this necessarily negatively affected me, but it was something that was a little weird, a little more awkward than what I'm used to. And so I was ready for my second attempt. This same 106 is a 106 that I missed on my second attempt at States. And so I kind of wanted redemption. I was like, man, this was light. You just gotta actually do it this time. And so I had good energy in the gym, and then as I was pulling off the ground, everything felt super light, maybe even like too quick. And so as I got to my hip, came up, everything felt powerful. And honestly, the best way I can describe the feeling is that I was expecting to make it. They felt exactly how all my previous weights felt to the hip, except as I propelled it up, I went to go under it, except I was expecting the bar to be right over my head, but instead it was a little bit forward, and then I just missed it. And so I wasn't mad or disappointed in myself, but I was more just confused, because if you would have just freeze framed me at the moment I was turning over and you asked me if I was gonna make it or not, odds are I was probably gonna say, yeah, this is a made lift. And so I was almost confused why I missed it, but after I did, I would talk to my coach, told him it felt fine. We went up, first time I've ever done this in my weightlifting career, but went up 2 kilos after a miss. And so I've hit 108 in the past at my online qualifier in June, so it wasn't like I was going up to a PR after a miss. This was more just for myself. I wasn't focused on what the weights my other competitors were lifting, but this was just a meet, just kind of test myself like a normal training day. And so again, the time went by a little slower than usual. So setting up for my 108, I had those nerves, but I still had some kind of sense of confidence. Very similarly to my second attempt, I pulled it up, everything felt super light, and the same exact thing happened where bar was just forward, my body was back, and so I couldn't get under it. So this resulted in a miss. And after this miss, that's when I kind of started getting down on myself, because I was just confused why I wasn't making it when it felt so good. But I guess you could say, fortunately, we had a quick turnaround with the clean and jerks because there was a 10-minute clock, and then everybody goes into their first attempts again. So I had to fit in all my warm-ups for clean and jerk in that 10-minute clock. The reason I was able to keep a somewhat decent attitude is because I knew I did everything I could in preparation for this meet, and that I know max weights aren't always gonna be there. So with my clean and jerks, my legs were pumping a little bit, but my body still felt pretty good for the most part. I was rolling through. I had to take some bigger jumps than I typically would just because I had to fit in those warm-ups. So I had to go 70 straight to 90 kilos, which is like a 45-pound jump, but you know, heck it, I was already warmed up from maxing out snatches, so it wasn't too bad. And 127, very light for me. And so for my opener, that showed, and as I picked it up, everything felt good, and I kept it a point to really keep the bar close and get under it as quick as I could, because I knew that was gonna be the money. And with my 127, I was able to bounce right out of it, come up, legs felt good, stuck the jerk, and that was my first attempt. So after that, we took a good jump up to 132. And so after my attempt, I had to sit down maybe a little longer than I even did with my snatches, just because clean and jerks take a little bit longer. So then after my rest, I went out, chalked up. I still felt good at this point, and I really just wanted to make some lifts on clean and jerk. After snatching, I knew that my max weights may not be there, but I just wanted to do everything I could and just move as well as I could. I got under it, felt a little forward in the catch, but I was still able to stand it up pretty easily. And then again, I stuck my jerk. And after nailing this really boosted me up and gave me hope that maybe I could walk away with a PR today. And so in the past, at my Youth World qualifier for this meet, actually in June, I cleaned 136 twice. Except because of all the attempts I took, my legs were just gassed out. So for this meet, I thought, hey, maybe if I can string together 136 clean and then stand it up and jerk it nice, that'd technically be a 3 kilo clean and jerk PR. So this last attempt was definitely the most hype. I was chalking up. I knew this was my last one, and I was just gonna go out strong, go out swinging, make or miss. And at this point, some of my teammates came in for the training that was supposed to take place after my lifting. And so I had a lot of people motivating me, a lot of people cheering me, and I felt really hyped. And I knew that my body was charged up and ready to go for this weight. I picked up the bar. It felt a little heavy, but obviously it's going to. But I felt confident I was gonna make it all the way into my hip, then sprung up, and I got under it pretty fine, except I caught it a little weird, and so it was a little forward, and then something weird happened with my feet, and so as I was going up, felt myself going forward, but I really tried to force those elbows up, and I ended up missing the lift. And so even in the video, I kind of just laughed it off. And so the feelings I had after this meet, I was frustrated, but also I felt a little more hopeful for the future because I knew that strength was not at all an issue and that it was really these few small technical things that if I just had time to really work on and grind through at the lighter weights, and then I know from there my numbers would shoot up. And another thing I realized was that although I was kind of down on myself, I would have felt the same way if the same exact thing happened but on a training day. And so that really put in perspective that throughout these online meets and even in my on-stage meets, that I really prioritize feelings of progression, whether it be through meets or in training, but just improving on my technique and improving my numbers instead of looking forward to the next big meet. It's not about just looking forward to doing my best at nationals or I'm training every day to do my best at worlds. I view it more as just this linear progression. And so honestly, I feel like if I were to hit a 136 or maybe a 108 snatch tomorrow, I would feel just as good as I would have if I would have hit it in that competition. So to me, when I put less pressure on these meets and just go out there, have fun, and view it as just another opportunity to test myself and see where my body and where my mind is at, I think that allows me to have more fun with it and just take in everything as it goes. Ever since I was young, I always wanted to build a legacy for myself. I wanted to be remembered. And so through these meets, I'll view these as the ultimate ways to define that legacy and build upon it. Except after realizing that each day that I'm able to lift the barbell is just another day to grow. And that if I just keep growing one step at a time, that my legacy will go ahead and build itself. There's no need for me to force anything or live up to some kind of standard, because if I just do me and work on what I need to work on, then shoot, I'm gonna be just fine. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, enjoyed this little meet story time. I really like doing these just so I can let out all the emotions and thoughts that I have going into, during, and then after these meets. And sometimes I just can't fit it all in one Instagram post. What's next in the future? So I have another quick turnaround to Youth Nationals, hopefully in Atlanta, Georgia in December. I appreciate y'all for watching this video through. Appreciate y'all for caring about what I have to say and just coming along with this journey with me. You know me gonna keep thumping out the videos, so stay tuned. Every other Money Moves Monday, we got CJ Rocks back on the edit, so we glad to have him back. Next week, I believe I'm going to be doing a video about the music GOAT albums that you guys recommended me on my Instagram. If you're not already following my Instagram, it is Kobe Rhodes. And on my Instagram, turn on the notifications for the stories, or at least just be looking out for them, because sometimes I'll have little interactive things regarding my YouTube channel. So who knows, you or one of your recommendations might be in the next video. Oh, and I almost forgot, I ended up getting 8th of that meet, which is 8th in the world. That's pretty good, but we're hungry for more. Anyways, money moves. Y'all better keep on doing them, and I'll catch y'all on the flip.